I never thought a simple garden shed would ignite a war. But that's how these things usually start, isn't it? A note pinned to the door. A warning in bold writing: remove non-compliant structure or face fines. The shed had stood for decades. Originally built by my grandfather with reclaimed lumber from the family mill, to me, it wasn't just storage. It was heritage. To the HOA, it was an eyesore. That was the first time I met Deborah Langley, president of the Cedar Glen HOA, clipboard in hand. Voice syrupy with forced politeness. "We appreciate your cooperation," she said, without listening to a word I said in return. After the second warning letter and a threat of daily fines, I started digging, not just into the soil where the shed stood, but into the records. My grandfather, Thomas Ridgway, had been a meticulous man. I remembered tales of him sealing away documents after the war, worried about land disputes. I found a dusty chest in the attic, filled with old blueprints, legal correspondences, and a note in his handwriting: "If they ever come for our land, show them this." Attached was a deed from 1949, registered at the county hall, with a clause I'd never seen before: "No authority, including neighborhood organizations, may govern or restrict use of land parcel number 773. Due to exemption status, ***, Cedar Glen was more than just a neighborhood. It was Deborah Langley's kingdom. She controlled the board, influenced city council decisions, and enforced HOA rules like they were federal law. Over the years, she pushed out families, fined retirees into selling their homes, and even re-landscaped someone's yard without permission. So when I confronted her with the exemption clause, she laughed. "Do you think a piece of paper from 1949 means anything now?" "Let's find out," I replied. Enter Monica Patel, a real estate attorney and old friend of the family. She read the deed and raised her eyebrows. "This clause is rare, but still valid if we can prove that parcel number 773D includes your current property. We can nullify any HOA authority over you." That meant surveying the land, tracing the historical boundaries, and surprisingly, submitting an application to the state archive to retrieve old zoning maps. We were peeling back layers of forgotten bureaucracy. Deborah wasn't pleased. Within weeks, my mailbox was flooded with citations, one for grass height irregularity, another for fence discoloration. Even my mailbox was declared non-standard material. It was laughable. But they were stacking fines, threatening to lien the property. Monica filed a cease and desist. Deborah responded by ordering the shed demolished. That was her mistake. When the demolition crew arrived, I was ready. I stalled them just long enough to lift the floorboards myself. And there it was, a trapdoor. Beneath it, a ladder descended into a small bunker. My grandfather had dug it during the Cold War, reinforced it with concrete. Inside were file cabinets, meticulously organized, containing everything from land surveys to private HOA meeting transcripts. How did he get those? That's a question I still don't have the answer to. Among the files were documents that hadn't seen daylight in decades, proof of zoning conflicts, a copy of the original HOA charter with missing pages that were never filed officially, and letters between Deborah's late husband and city contractors, suspiciously cozy, with implications of kickbacks. One folder was labeled Annex Plan. It detailed Deborah's long-term project to expand HOA boundaries, absorb surrounding land, and convert common areas into private assets. And yes, my shed was dead center on a proposed community garden that was really just a disguised expansion. Plot. Monica and I decided it was time. We scanned everything, compiled a dossier, and emailed it to every homeowner in Cedar Glen. Then we printed copies and handed them out during the monthly HOA meeting. Deborah tried to silence us. She screamed about defamation, threatened to call the police. But the tide had turned. Neighbors who'd stayed silent began to speak. One elderly woman tearfully recounted how her backyard fountain, a memorial to her late husband, was removed without notice. Another revealed she'd been overcharged for $1,000 in fees. We filed for a formal injunction. Monica's firm took the case pro bono. The goal: dissolve the HOA's authority over all historically exempt properties and investigate financial misconduct. Deborah hired a PR firm and a team of lawyers. They claimed we were fabricating history. But history has receipts. The courtroom was packed. Local news covered it as the Battle of Cedar Glen. Monica walked the judge through the exemption clause, the deed, and the bunker files. Then she dropped the bombshell: a recorded meeting transcript where Deborah admitted she'd been quietly redrawing the map. The judge's gavel slammed down. Temporary injunction granted. All HOA action suspended pending investigation. The county began auditing HOA finances. What they found was worse than we imagined. Falsified invoices, personal expenses labeled as community improvements, and thousands in missing funds. Deborah's signature was on nearly every check. She was removed as president within a week. The homeowners voted to dissolve the HOA. A new neighborhood council was formed, voluntary, transparent, and focused on actual community needs. We kept the playgrounds. We removed the surveillance cameras Deborah had installed without consent. As for the shed, it was rebuilt, stronger than ever, with a plaque in memory of Thomas Ridgway, protector of the land. The local historical society got wind of the bunker. They cataloged it, preserved it, and even offered to turn it into a mini museum. My grandfather's records became part of county history. Deborah, she disappeared from public life. Rumor is, she moved to another state. No HOA there would dare hand her a clipboard again. A month later, while cleaning the attic again, I found another note from my grandfather. If you're reading this, you've done your duty. The land is safe. Never let them bully what you built. It brought tears to my eyes. The final victory, what started with a shed, ended with the restoration of freedom. To dozens of homeowners, the real victory wasn't just beating the HOA. It was reclaiming our voice, our rights, and our story. So if your neighborhood tells you to roll over, don't dig deep. You never know what's buried beneath the floorboards. ***, subscribe to DD Stories. Because revenge is a family. Tradition ***.